In a world where not all things can be explained, we turn to those with experience and the knowledge to help us. So join us as we explore the paranormal crossings into the unknown. Hi, welcome to Paranormal Crossings into the Unknown. My name is Aaron Collins. I'm your host, and I have a very special co-host today, my good friend, my teammate, and one of my great friends, James Mitchell. How you doing, James?
Good. How are you, Aaron?
I'm doing great, man. How was your Christmas?
Pretty good. Quiet at the same time. How was yours?
It was good, nice and quiet. I think this is the first year it was actually quiet.
That's a good
Normally
thing.
with all of our kids and family, it's hustle and bustle and lots of noise, kind of like your house. But this year was nice and quiet. I liked it. I enjoyed that. So
Yeah.
nice little break. So it was good. Got to spend time with the dog. So my wife and the dog. So,
Right. Yeah. We had our Christmas on Sunday, so we ended up taking the dogs up to Mount Hood and took them up there in the snow, and then kind of got stuck up there ourselves. So.
yeah, I saw the video that your lovely wife loves to put on Facebook with you and the dogs on Mount Hood up in the snow. So
Right.
yeah, that's a good place. Incidentally, that's actually part of that was that area was filmed for The Shining.
The
As
outside
far
of Timberline Lodge. Yeah.
yeah, which is pretty cool. So I love it up there anyways. I mean, I'm not originally from this area, but I've been here for 32 years, but originally from Tennessee. And when I first found that out, because that's one of my favorite movies, man, I was ecstatic to get up there and see it for myself. And if anybody hasn't been up here to Portland, Oregon area, I mean, you've got to go check out the Timberline Lodge and the whole Mount Hood, that Cascades area. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. So lots of snow up there, and as you said, you got stuck.
Well, yeah. You kind of have to watch those signs that say traction devices required.
Right, right. You decided not to pay attention to that sign, right?
Oh well, I was doing all right until everyone stopped in front of me.
Uh, yeah, that kind of presents a little bit of a problem. So,
Just a little.
well, yeah, just a little bit. So I was hoping maybe today we can talk a little bit about some of the paranormal locations, some of the most haunted locations that you and I have been to. More so of where you have been. You and I have been friends a long time. We're on the same team, NW Paranormal Investigative Team, and we've done some investigating together. And maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the locations we've been to together, some of the locations we've been to apart. One in particular, I was hoping that you could talk about, and you know which one I'm talking about. You and Heidi have been to, which is on my bucket list, and so maybe you could talk a little bit about that one. So why don't you start with what are some of the best haunted locations that you've been to?
Well, right off the bat, number one is the Stanley Hotel.
Mm.
I've been there, I think, 5 times now,
Oh,
and
let's not brag or anything, but 5 times.
well, you know what? When you go 3, 4 times, every year, it was time for a little bit of a break.
Right.
Actually, I'm overdue to go back. How's that?
Well, I'm going
Um,
with you this time. I already told you and Heidi. That's it. We're going with you this time.
all right, fair enough.
So
Yeah.
what keeps bringing you back? What has been your experiences there?
Well, right off the bat, obviously the movie Shining
Sure.
was part of it, and the fourth floor is reportedly the most haunted floor of the hotel. And of course, wanting to find out for myself, we stayed on the fourth floor. Right off the bat, really, after we checked in, Heidi and we brought our luggage up. I even had some little bit of equipment I brought with me. We set it off left it off into the hotel room. Kind of took our cameras, walked the hotel, was taking some pictures. We decided to go back to the hotel to get some other things. Well, our door key wouldn't work.
Oh
You have
wow.
slide it in and all that good stuff. And we tried it 3, 4 times. It wouldn't allow us to get into the room. So we went down thinking, okay, maybe the card keys were messed up. And down at the desk, they said, "Are you on the fourth floor?" And we said, "Well, yeah." And they said, "Well, did you have your card keys next to any electronics or phones or anything like that?" And we said, "No, we left all that up in our room." Then they kind of said, "Well, try this, knock and ask for permission to enter the room, because on occasion that will happen. Your card key won't allow you to get into the room."
Seriously?
Seriously. I thought,
That's what they
okay,
told you to do?
absolutely. So I
No
said,
way.
okay. I said, okay, well, whatever. We'll pick the new car keys up. They even had a security guy go up with us. He tried it, the card keys, and new card keys, everything. It would not allow him to open the door.
Wow.
He knocked on the door, asked for permission to enter, tried the card key again, and the door opened.
No way. That is incredible.
I
Wow.
I was just floored. I'm like, really? This is what I got to look forward to for a week? I'm like, yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm like, stoked. Let's bring it on.
Right?
Right.
That's
And
awesome.
so, we kind of went in and got some other equipment and, audio recorders and uh, video camera and whatnot. Was kind of going around the hotel afterwards. And later in the evening, there's been reports of children running up and down the corridor, bouncing a ball. Okay.
Mm,
And this was, I'd say, we went to bed probably about 9, 10 o'clock. Right around, I think, midnight it was. I heard, no joking, I heard kids running up and down the corridor.
oh wow.
And I did honestly thought I heard a ball. I wasn't 100% about a ball bouncing, but I know I heard kids. I got
Wow.
up, opened up our door. There was nobody in the hallway, and the elevator opened up with the security guy. And he's like, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Well, I thought I heard kids going back and forth up here." And he said that some of the reported activity up here.
Wow. That's awesome.
Right. I was like, wow. And this is pretty much our first night there.
Mm.
And I'm like blown away. I'm like, if this is our first night here, what can the rest of the week be like?
Oh, no doubt.
So yeah, we had that. I've taken some pictures, and I've actually, I've shown you a couple of them.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
those are
yeah,
incredible.
I've shown to some other people and uh, whatnot. But when I kind of zoomed in a little bit, I've taken basically, I'm at one end of this corridor, taking a picture all the way down, and at the end of this corridor is a glass door, glass windows, all that. Basically, you can't. I guess they have the door kind of barricaded somehow, but I think there used to be a balcony or something there. It goes on
Okay,
the other
right.
side of the door outside. Well,
Hmm.
I snapped a few pictures and kind of zooming in. It looked like there was maybe 5 or 6 people on the other side of this in period dress. Uh, some guys in suits, women in period dress with shawl or whatnot over their shoulders,
Right.
and, and I'm like, well, this can't be because there's no balcony on the other side. And I'm like, okay, maybe my camera's just messing up, you know. So
But you and I, when you showed me these pictures, we were looking at them on your laptop, and we blew those pictures up, and
exactly,
we ran them through different filters, just to analyze them for analyzation purposes. And I mean, you could clearly see that there's something there, and I mean, that blew my mind. I mean, to see people in period dresses, men and women, and my wife, Christina,
Right.
saw as well. And
Well,
so,
and to further that, I went down to that end just to make sure, looking for pictures or anything like that there's a
mm,
reflection off of or anything like that. Nothing down there.
right. Well, didn't
You
you
know,
take pictures from the outside also
I
the next day
do have,
during the day?
yeah, I do have pictures of the front of the hotel and that area.
Hmm.
So, and this was, I want to say the third floor, I think is where these pictures were taken.
Okay.
I can't honestly remember. It's been a few years.
Right. Oh,
So
those were great pictures, though.
absolutely. Um, so the rest of the week, it seemed to kind of mellow down a little bit. We did take their haunted tour down in underneath the hotel and over to the music hall, and that was fascinating in itself. With all
Wow.
the um, uh, pianos and whatnot that are in the basement of the music hall that belong to Mrs. Stanley.
Oh, wow.
And there's reports of um, some entities down in that bottom basement area.
Did you capture anything else during your stay there?
No, actually, I didn't.
Okay.
So,
Now you went back a few more times, and
yeah,
so those other visits, were you able to capture anything? Were they as exciting as the first time,
well,
paranormal wise?
anytime you're back at the Stanley, it's fascinating. You always want to see if you can outdo the last time you were there.
Right.
Um, I think the last time we were there was when William Becker did a class at the Stanley.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he did a class there, and we had my stepdaughter there, and um, we were in one of the parlor rooms of the main hotel, and she was getting uh, some sensation or feeling of some children, playing around her, and my stepdaughter seems to be attracting young entities, children or whatnot.
She's
But
like a beacon for
yes, the
children
beacon,
entities. Yeah, she
right?
is.
Yeah.
They all seem to be attracted to her and want to be around her.
Yeah. So I really want to get back there, hopefully within the next year or two, and see what else I could, you know, find.
Oh, definitely, definitely. No, that's one of the that's one place that's on my bucket list. Definitely the
You,
Stanley Hotel.
yeah, you definitely won't be disappointed.
Oh, definitely. Well, I mean, we've all seen it on TV, on different shows, and you've been there, and your family's been there, and that's definitely a place I'd like to visit. So,
Yeah,
um,
I mean, it's such a beautiful old hotel.
yeah,
If I had my way, I'd kind of retire in Estes Park just so I could go over to that hotel every day.
wouldn't that be nice?
Right?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to own a haunted hotel or bed and breakfast type place. I think that'd be pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived in so many different haunted locations and worked in haunted locations. I mean, giving tours at the Portland Shanghai tunnels. I mean, being down there. I've mentioned on past shows and stuff, but I was a tour guide for a year, and being down there, it was quite an experience, and especially when getting things set up for the tours, and you're down there by yourself, you're in the dark, and that's when they um, decided to let me know that, hey, you're not alone. And yeah, there were some times. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Where if I had hair on my head, it would have been standing up. So,
Yeah.
um, but I would go down there and I would treat them like anyone else, and speak to them and let them know, hey, it's me, it's
Well,
Aaron, and You know,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
here to.
I've even been on those tours down there a couple times, and um, I've had some things. I think it was my first time down there. I had some stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You went on one of my tours once, and
absolutely.
it's funny because people come down there with the expectation of something paranormal happening, but what people don't understand is that the spirits, they're not circus monkeys. They're not going to just they're
Yeah, they're
people.
not.
They're
Yeah,
not going to come out and start doing stuff every time or make themselves known every single time people are down there. And so I'm sure it's exhausting for them too. They
right.
choose to manifest when they choose to do that, and they choose to touch people when they choose to do it, and make themselves known. It wasn't all the time. They did that a lot with me. They were used to me, and I would go down there a lot by myself to get the tours set up and or get things set up for the tours, and I would talk while I was down there and make them comfortable. And the more I was down there alone, the more they would make themselves known. I mean, my name was called many times, or whispered in my ear, or I was touched, or things would move, things like that. And that happened a lot. And things did happen quite a bit on my tours for other people. I mean, I've gotten some great pictures from other people. They would email me. One instance, I had a guy, he was a young kid. When we didn't have tour assistants, then I would ask for a assistant to volunteer, someone to volunteer to be my assistant throughout the tour. And I was never short of that. A
Right.
lot of people would volunteer to help out. And so I had this one kid, he was 16, and he volunteered to help. And we were moving from one section to another. And the benefit of being an assistant is you're the last one. And just to make sure everyone's coming through, because it is a little dark down there. And he was making sure everyone was coming through to the other side because I'm so far ahead. And all of a sudden, he's taking pictures. And I told him, I said, it's okay to go ahead and take pictures. And he was taking pictures, and all of a sudden he's screaming my name. And so I told him to come here, and he showed me these two pictures that he had just taken. And I've shown you the pictures, but it is one of the most incredible pictures I've seen that was taken down there in the tunnels. And it's one of the pictures is of it looks like a woman in a dress holding a basket, and it was so incredible because we had just come from that area. He turned around, snapped two pictures. The second one, she had manifested, and I mean, it was incredible. He was shaking. He was so excited. And we actually ended up using that picture on the Halloween tour, and which was great, along with some other pictures that we already had. But yeah, a lot of people go down there and they're touched, or a lot of skeptics, and I like that. I like when skeptics come down there because I'm also a skeptic at times. I don't go into every
Oh,
investigation or every location thinking, "Oh, this place is haunted."
absolutely. Yeah.
You
I
have
mean,
to.
if you go into a place not being a skeptic, I mean, you're what's the point?
You're
You're just,
kidding yourself. Yeah.
yeah, you're fooling yourself.
Exactly. We have to be, in order to be a good investigator, you have to be a skeptic. And the point to being a good investigator is ruling out everything that you can explain. And once you've ruled out everything you can explain, then you go towards the paranormal. But, our objective is to be able to explain everything first. And then if you can't explain, then we kind of move over to the other side. And so, which we've done. We've done that on occasion on different investigations. And so there was also the other place that I had the fundraiser, which you and
Yeah.
your wife and daughter came to, which was October of 2017, to raise money for a friend of ours who unfortunately has since passed away. But it was at a wonderful location, the Klondike in St. Helens, Oregon.
Yes,
And
I did that one a couple times.
now that one I had only been to once, and it was
Right.
that occasion, and I loved that investigation. I mean, there was a lot of people that showed up. It was a great fundraiser, but as far as a haunted location, man, that was pretty cool.
Well, it was really great, and it was a great, fabulous fundraiser. The only thing that was disappointing for me, when you have so many people,
Oh
uh,
yeah,
and you break them up into groups and whatnot, of course, you're going to have the skeptics and all those others, but they all just sit there and, talk really low, and you're trying to, you know, get some kind of proof, whether it's an EVP or anything,
Right.
and it's like, well, no, that's these guys over here talking, and you're like, wow, when you thought you had something really good, you know.
Exactly. And
So,
that's the hard part. A lot of people, they paid pretty good money
right.
to investigate with you know with us and a couple of other people that I had for lead investigators. And um, it's hard to do a really good, authentic investigation when you have that many people. Excuse me, that many people there. Um, it was all for charity, of course, for a
Right.
fundraiser. But we were able to capture certain things, and
Yeah.
we had the guys that brought in the souped up, if you will, SV7 box, and
Right.
that was pretty cool because there's a lot that came through that was relevant to the questions that we asked, and especially down in that base. Well, that one room upstairs and in the basement,
Yeah, the
and
one upstairs where the temperature fluctuated quite
yeah,
frequently. That was,
yeah,
I
that was
couldn't quite explain that.
yeah, that was pretty intense. And unfortunately, that restaurant has closed, and so it's not open to the public anymore because they're selling the building, and so that's kind of a bummer. But I would really truly like to go back there and investigate. So if there's a possible way we could get in there to do that, maybe we can. So I know another group is trying to get in there and is in the midst of talking about getting in there, and I think that uh, we're on the list to go with them. So that would be great.
Yeah,
I'd like to
for
go
sure.
back and do an actual investigation. So yeah, those are some great places. So the other place locally here in Portland, well, actually closer to Gresham and actually in Troutdale is um, the Edgefield.
Coalfield.
That's
Yeah.
another great place. Have you investigated there before?
No, I think that's on my bucket list of places to go to. I
Mm,
know you've been there.
yeah. I did. We actually, an old friend of mine was doing a podcast, and we ended up doing it live from a room there, one of the most haunted rooms, which is room 215. And now this place used to be a poor farm. It was a place where it was like kind of like a, I don't want to say insane asylum, but it was a
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It was a type of place where
Yeah.
people go that had mental problems, things like that. And anyways, it was built in like 1911 or 1917, somewhere around there. And but the McMenamins brothers came in and they refurbished it and turned it into a hotel. And there's two restaurants, and it's a great place. It's a great venue for concerts outdoors, and it's got the wine. It's got great wine, a brewery. It's got even a golf course up there. But it's a great place. But it is haunted, and allegedly. And so I decided to be the guinea pig that night, and I would spend the night in that room, 215. After the podcast, and I put up cameras, or we put up cameras, so that they would run while I sleep. And it was a crazy night. So what we did was my producer for Paranormal Crossings, the TV show, Steve Schroba. He was also my camera guy. This was all for Paranormal Crossings, the TV show, and he stayed with me after the podcast, and we interviewed the night auditor. And after interviewing her and listening to her stories, um, then I looked through a book that they keep at the front desk where people who have stayed in all the various rooms would write down their paranormal encounters. And crazily enough, I decided to read the stories about the room 215. Well, I shouldn't have done that right before sleeping in room 215 because it was around midnight by the time I was done reading this stuff. And Steve left and left me there. And yeah, it kind of spooked me. And so I go up to room 215. I'm ready to go to bed. I'm tired. Been a long day. We did the podcast. We did some investigations around the hotel. We went to the separate building that's separate from the actual main hotel. Did an investigation up there. So it was a long night, long day, and I was ready to go to bed. Come back to 215 after reading the logbook, and the audio that I had a digital audio recorder with me. You can actually hear me standing outside the door, and I just go, okay. Yeah, right before I put the key in the door, and I put the key in the door, go in, and anyway, so I end up going to bed, and I can hear all this noise next door, and I'm like, man, there's so much activity in that room. What are these people doing? And so I finally go to sleep, and the next morning, I was got everything together and was getting ready to check out, go downstairs, and I had heard banging and stuff during the night and all kinds of talking and stuff in the room next to me. And I asked the people at the front desk, I said, man, I said, were they having a party next door? And they said, well, which room were you talking about? And I explained which side. And they looked at me and said, sir, there was nobody in that room. And I said, are you serious? Maybe I should have stayed in that room, you know? And
Right.
so that was quite crazy. So, but those two rooms apparently are supposed to be the most haunted rooms, but there are a lot of locations in that hotel that are pretty haunted. There's been a lot of deaths in that place, throughout the younger years of that place before it was ever a hotel.
Right.
And in reviewing the footage, you can see a lot of orbs while I'm sleeping. At one
Yeah.
point, you can see my blankets tugged,
Yeah. I was
which
going to
really
ask if
freaked
there
me
was
out.
any, if you caught anything.
Yeah, I'll have to pull that footage up and show you. And yeah, yeah, we have 4 cameras in there, and you can see at one point you can see some crazy orb stuff just out of nowhere. And I'm sound asleep. And then it took me a long time going over this one piece of footage where I couldn't tell if it was my leg moving or if it was something tugging, but it really looks like something tugging my sheets during the night. So I'll have to get your opinion on that. But yeah,
For
that was
sure.
crazy. And that was back, this was probably 2013, 12. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been quite a while. It was a lot of fun, though. I enjoyed myself. So,
Wow. I
yeah.
need to get up there and try it myself.
Yeah, we'll have to plan something and definitely do an investigation there and plan on spending the night. Maybe this time you could spend the night and we'll put the cameras on you.
Yeah.
There you
No,
go.
no, no.
So, all right. So, when we come back, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation about some of the haunted locations that we've been to, and maybe some haunted locations that we would like to go to. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to Paranormal Crossings Into the Unknown. I'm Aaron Collins, and my co-host James Mitchell is with me, and we're discussing some haunted locations that he and I have been fortunate enough to investigate and been to. And we just leading out to the commercial break. We were talking about Edgefield in Troutdale, Oregon, and as I was a guinea pig the night that I investigated, and everybody left me alone, and I spent the night in room 215. And so, anyways, so maybe we can talk a little bit about maybe some other locations that we've talked about going to and investigating. Unless you have another location that you would like to bring up, James.
No, no, actually, I'd like to get over to the Queen Mary.
Oh
I think
yes.
I think that's next on my bucket list.
You know, you and I have a friend. She's such a great friend and such a wonderful person, Nicole Strickland,
Oh
and
yeah.
she is the number one leading authority on the Queen Mary. She's written countless books about the Queen Mary, and she's a wonderful author, just a great investigator. And oh my gosh, I have talked to her so many times about coming down, visiting, and having her take us on a tour of the Queen Mary. And you and I were just talking about that.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that would be amazing. I would love to go down there. That's another one that's on my bucket list.
Right. It's like I've heard, I've seen her post on Facebook, you know, on the Queen Mary and everything she's experiencing, and I want, just like the Stanley, I want to go there. I want to be a part of it. I want to see it for myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I'd like to have her on the show here soon. I've been talking to her, and so she will be on the show soon. So I'd love to talk to her, have us talk to her about the Queen Mary, and um, she has such great love for that beautiful ship, and knows all the ins and outs of that ship and the spirits aboard. And she does. I think she's done some haunted tours and things like that. But she's a huge involvement with that ship, and some other areas down that way. She's done some television bits, and she's been written up in the paper, all kinds of stuff. She's been on a morning talk show down in San Diego, all kinds of stuff. So she's pretty busy. She's pretty active down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's definitely a place that I would like to go. So
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and given the opportunity, England. I would love to go to England and
Oh,
Scotland, Ireland. I mean, there's so many places abroad that I would like to visit and do some paranormal investigating. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on and on and on with all the places that we'd like to go. But
well,
there's still
I'll stick locally for now, and then branch out.
exactly. There's so many places here in the U.S. that we need to go to. And actually, what I'd like to do is do a paranormal road tour. And so maybe with Paranormal Crossings Into the Unknown, maybe there's a shot at some point we jump in an RV and hey, you just bought a trailer.
Hey,
Well,
no.
there you go. You'll just have to tell Heidi it's the new paranormal trailer. So we're traveling.
No.
Bye. No, but I'd love to do a paranormal road trip and like a U.S. tour or something, and just go to different hotspots and do some paranormal investigating, and maybe do podcasts from different locations or
Right.
something.
Yeah,
You know,
another place I'd like to get over to is the Sumter Bed and Breakfast.
where is that?
Sumter down out by Baker City.
Oh, really? Okay, I don't know about that one.
Really? Oh, I've heard you could talk with Ben Robinson. I think Casey.
Okay,
they've done stuff over there. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a really another hot spot.
Now those guys are with Oregon Paranormal, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
are a couple of great guys. And Jay
absolutely.
Verberg.
Yeah.
In fact, Jay Verberg, he used to be on that show from
Good,
Sci-Fi Channel,
good
Ghost
mind.
Mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also one of my investigators for the fundraiser at the Klondike. He was gracious enough to come and help out with that fundraiser. So that was
And,
really, he's a great guy.
yeah. Oh, and he is so into the history of all these places.
Oh yeah.
He's so in depth with it. I was so amazed at what he, you know, gave everybody on that Klondike.
Oh my goodness.
I just,
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know half of that stuff, and I was even looking up information on the Klondike.
Oh yeah.
So
He was a wealth of information, but he had done
absolutely,
so many different investigations and talks on the history of that particular location in the past. And I
right,
didn't even know that when I asked him to be involved. And so that worked out pretty well. And also, there's the Wheeler Hotel, the old Wheeler Hotel in Wheeler, Oregon, down on the coast.
absolutely,
He and Katie, Katie has the old Wheeler Hotel, and Jay's there as well. And that's another paranormal hotspot, and it's a wonderful hotel. Katie has done such a tremendous job with that place, bringing it back to its glory. And I'm not sure the year that it was built, but it's a beautiful hotel. Christina and I actually stayed there it was for, what was it, Valentine's Day a few years ago.
Oh,
and it was awesome. It was beautiful. The room was amazing. Katie, of course, is amazing, and we had such a great time. Oh, it was great. And we didn't do any paranormal investigating. We weren't there for that. We were there just for Valentine's, and so. But it's a beautiful hotel, and there are spirits there, and so that's another place to check out. Is the old Wheeler Hotel in Wheeler, Oregon, down on the coast, the
yeah.
Oregon coast.
Heidi and I have been by that place. I don't countless times, and I would have never have guessed that that would be a haunted location.
I know it. It's crazy. In that town, though, the town is so small, but they are such a tight community. And unfortunately, they had some flooding there, but the whole community pitched in to help each other when there was some damage. Even at the hotel in the basement, there was some damage that was done, and people from Portland, our paranormal community, some of our friends ran down there to help out. And that's another thing, as far as the paranormal community, we all tend to help each other. We look out for each other, we help each other in a time of need. And just like, the fundraiser that I had for our friend, even though she wasn't really in the paranormal community, she was a friend. And all of us from the paranormal community jumped in to help out in
Oh
their
yeah,
time of need, and that's what I love about the paranormal community that we're in, is that we all look out for each other and help each other out. So it's more than just paranormal investigators. We're a family in a sense, and
well,
that's what I like about that.
yeah. And for me, relatively, I'll say, kind of still new to the field in a sense. I've kind of noticed that. I know several of the teams and in the area, and you know, I would love to be go investigate with them, or uh, you know,
Absolutely,
I'd be honored to just be a part of anything that they did, and
yeah,
knowing that there's such a tight knit group, you couldn't ask for anything better than
absolutely. No, there's a lot of good groups here. There's a lot of great people. And again, I did talk about the Oregon Ghost Conference, the last podcast, but that is coming up next March. And last year, you were one of the lead investigators for the investigations, as well as myself and Rocky, and Darren did it as well, who's
that.
um, got his own group, Darren Scholl, and so. He's the one that's negotiating to get into the Klondike because he lives in that area, in the Scappoose St. Helens area, and
Right.
they just did 2 investigations at City Hall in St. Helens. So that says a lot about their team to be allowed to go into St. Hall to their City Hall to investigate. So that says a lot about their team, and
Oh,
so they're
wow.
doing really well. Yeah, they're doing really
Well,
well.
and speaking of another, the Milwaukee City Hall is actually haunted.
Really?
Didn't know, I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, no, I didn't
Yeah.
know.
On another show I was once on, we actually did a show from City Hall,
Really?
and, and we actually had Seth and Jill on the
Oh,
show,
nice.
and that night is when we found out that the City Hall was actually haunted.
Now, did you do the show from City Hall?
We did the show from City Hall.
And did Jill and Seth come to City Hall to do the show?
Absolutely.
Oh, no
And
way. That's
that
awesome.
and that's when we found out that yeah, that City Hall was actually haunted. There's
Wow.
several entities in a bathroom, uh, some downstairs, and yeah, it was fascinating.
That's great. No, I didn't know.
Yeah, and for
There's,
the other radio show I was with, yeah, they never even knew really of this field until I came aboard.
oh, really?
I brought this to light for them, and yeah,
So, for those of you that may not know, James was with Anarchy Radio. And I know one of our producers here was used to listen to Anarchy Radio and you. And so,
well,
and
I
so,
wasn't gonna mention the name,
well, but we got to give you some props, man. So, you're a little famous
but
around here. So.
Geez, hey, no, but for Anarchy Radio, you know, they were all local, anything local music, authors, painters, whatnot, but they did not hit anything paranormal, the local paranormal group, until I
Right.
came aboard and brought them to light.
Which I thought was a great idea. And that's how I found out about you and I found out about Anarchy Radio. It was because of the paranormal. In fact, the first Oregon Ghost Conference I went to or attended, I'm not sure if you were there, but I know Jason was there. I
Oh
think
yeah,
Jason and the other guy. And I didn't get a chance to meet them, but I knew they were there. And that's how I first heard about them. In fact, I was on Jason's show last year because he has his own show doing something different.
right.
And he invited me to come out and do his show and promote the Oregon Ghost Conference and some other stuff. And so I went out and did their show, but which was totally different. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyway, so looks like there's lots of places to, to investigate locally. Obviously, there's a lot of great groups here in the Portland, Oregon, Vancouver areas. A lot of great psychic mediums. You mentioned Seth Michael.
Yep.
He's one of the greatest, in my opinion. He's amazing, and
Well,
he actually. Go ahead.
with Seth Michaels, any of the psychic mediums that I've talked to, I'm not going to try discredit him or not because I've not talked with him long enough. But with Seth Michael, I know he is the real deal.
Oh yeah.
I've had 2 readings done by him, and what clinched it for me with him was the second reading when he brought up a specific name, and only 2 people are allowed to call me that
Oh wow.
specific name. One who has passed away, who's been passed away since 2005, and the other one's my mother.
Oh wow.
Okay. And
Wow.
when he said that they used to call me this name, I I'm not gonna joke. I'm not gonna lie. I actually broke down crying because um, for me, psychic mediums, I'm real skeptical about.
Yeah.
I don't want to feed them any information. I don't want anything like that. I want to keep my mouth shut. I
Oh
want to hear
yeah.
what they have to say. And when he gave me that information, I just kind of busted down crying like a little 2-year-old.
Oh, I'm sure.
I
No,
mean,
that's touching.
so for me, Seth is the real deal. And I'm sure if I talk with any of the others, I could give them a chance.
Right.
But, I'm not gonna. I'm still skeptical of the others, but like I said,
Yeah.
I know Seth is the real deal.
Definitely. And he's such such kind-hearted.
He's
You
so
know,
genuine. Yeah.
he is. Well, and he has a documentary coming out, and it's premiering at the next
That's a
Ghost
good one.
Conference at the end of March. Yeah.
Yep.
It's all around us documentary.
Yep.
Tristan is the one that put it all together along um, with Seth, and so I'm really stoked. I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah. And
And
I helped donate to that documentary.
oh, that's awesome.
So
Very cool. Well, I know that they spent what a couple of years putting this together,
yeah, about
and
2.5 years.
yeah, so they've really put in a lot of time and effort into this documentary, and the trailer that I've seen and some of the other stuff, I am so impressed. I can't wait to see the production in its entirety. So I'm pretty stoked about it.
Yeah, same
So
here.
yeah. So, but there are a lot of good psychic mediums, and then there's some that I'm still skeptical about. But we know one that's on our team who's been really great. Excuse me, as far as I'm concerned, and that's June Lundgren. My wife has actually come pretty far in her abilities, which has blown me away. And I mean, some of the stuff that she says and like comes up with, it's like, oh my gosh, how do you know this? you know, it's crazy. Um, and then she gets validation, and it's just like, wow, that's just amazing. But yeah, June, she's been amazing. Wendy, she's been pretty amazing as well. And so, and then there's some others in our area who have been pretty good as well. So, but yeah, we've got so many different groups and all kinds of talented people here in the Portland metro area. And what I was going to say though is, if anybody's looking for a paranormal group, one of the things to look for is, first of all, do your research on the group. And number two, if they're charging money to come out and do an investigation, do not go with that group. That's
Absolutely
one of
not.
the that's one of the things that we take pride in, as well as the groups that we are close niched with, and the groups that I would recommend. They don't charge. We don't charge anything to do an investigation. How can you possibly charge for something that you can't really de- definitely
You
prove?
can't.
You know what I mean?
That,
So how can you charge money for that? But there are groups that do, and I don't agree with that, and I'm appalled by that people would actually do that. And I heard of one not that long ago that charged this person um, an X amount of money because they needed new software to analyze this evidence from this person's location. Are you kidding me? You're
yeah.
charging this seriously? That is just over the top ridiculous.
Well,
So,
I was kind of looking at some of the paranormal groups here in Oregon
mm,
online, and there is one. I can't. The name escapes me at the moment, but there is one group here in Oregon that does charge.
really.
Yeah. I
Well,
was looking at it, and I'm like, you know what? They're charging. I'm not even interested to find out anything more about them. I
no,
and have moved on, and because I was
no.
just there, I wanted, besides the group that I personally know here in the Portland metro area, I just wanted to kind of branch out and see what others are in the state of Oregon and Vancouver. Just
Right,
to see, you know, what they're all about. What their
right,
philosophies are, and how they go about you, doing the investigation.
right. Well, and there are a lot of groups out here. We know a lot of groups, a lot of them that are involved with the Oregon Ghost Conference. And, those are top notch groups. And they do really well, and they do the research. They treat the client with respect, and the spirits that are in the location with respect, if there are spirits in that location. And that's important,
Yeah. Well,
and so,
and for me personally, I've had two of these groups come out to my home. My,
mm,
the home I had before this one here.
right.
So I've I've had White Light Paranormal come out. I had
Excellent group.
Tet, yep, Tets out. They were out first, and then White Light. You know,
Who was the first one?
it's Trails End Paranormal Society.
Oh yeah,
That
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had them. We had them out first, and then we had White Light Paranormal
Mm.
out. You know. So yeah,
Yeah, but like I said, you just need to do research before actually inviting a group to your home, because you are inviting them to your home or your location, and it's definitely important. You wouldn't invite just any plumber to your house, or any drywall person or whatever to your home. I mean, you do your
the
research, you
one.
know, exactly, and you need to do the same thing when it comes to a paranormal group. So those are the things to look for, and you can find all that online. And so also, again, the Oregon Ghost Conference. I because I'm a part of the Oregon Ghost Conference, and I've been involved with it for the last 5 years. Um, there's so many wonderful groups associated and involved with the Oregon Ghost Conference. It's impossible for me to name them all and all the people associated. But if you're interested and can make it to the Oregon Ghost Conference this next year, just go to OregonGhostConference.com and look at the schedule. The schedule will be up this next year, but you can look and see what we did last year. And it's such a wonderful event. A whole group of wonderful people coming together. It's a 3-day event. James and I will be there, and you know, anybody and everybody in the Oregon area that's involved in the paranormal will be there. So it's definitely
Absolutely.
worth it. And, it's a wonderful spot to just mingle with other groups, other paranormal investigators. And, it's para-unity. A lot of people talk about it, but really that's the location for it.
Right.
There's classes, there's vendors, there's teachers,
Speakers.
there's investigations, there's bonfire on the beach, there's tours, there's all kinds of great stuff. And who doesn't want to go to the beach? You know?
Right. Well, when I first started going to the Ghost Conference, I think I missed the first 2 or 3, but after that, I've gone every year since.
Right.
And that's how I got to know pretty much 90% of the people that are there.
Right.
And they've all seen me. They've like, well, why don't you start your own group, or why don't you join a group?
Right.
If you're so into this, that's the way, because I've always wanted to join a group, be a part of a group, because, I know that there's something out there. And it's for validation. And for the fact I find it also fascinating for
Definitely.
me. And so it's like, okay, well, let me try find a group or start a group. But, I'm not going to go start a group when I've got a fantastic group right now.
Oh, well, thank you. We just need to get active. And that's the goal for this next year. Unfortunately, I had to deal with a lot of health issues this past year, but things are looking up, and we're definitely get more active this next year. And it's about helping people too. And that's another thing I love about doing this as a group is helping people. And and that's the other thing is we drove up. How far was it for us to drive up to northern Washington?
Oh, that was
To help.
hopefully in Washington.
Yeah, that was quite a drive, but we didn't charge. We
No.
took time out. We took a weekend. We drove up individually, and went and did an investigation together, stayed at a hotel, or, each of us stayed at a hotel, and then came back home the next day, but we did it to help somebody. And that's what the bottom line is to go out of our way to help somebody. We were contacted through your wife, actually, to help somebody. And that's what we do. We help people. And sure, we're curious as well, what investigator isn't? So that's what it is. But so that's what you need to look for in a group, a caring group that has a heart, a group that's been around for a while, that knows what they're doing. And we have about 10 members of our group. Now they're not all active all the time, but we do have a lot of members, and not all of us go out on investigations when we do have the investigations. But we do have quite a few members. But we have a core group that does go out when we go out, and so. Anyways, but you can get a hold of us on, you can go to nwparanormal.net. You can email me. And here's the other thing I'd like to close with before we go is I'd like to hear about your stories. What have you come across? What are some of your favorite locations? And email me. Feel free. My email is aaron.nwparanormal@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook, Aaron Collins on Facebook. And that'll also be in the description for the podcast. But as always, thank you for listening today. I appreciate it. And thank you, James, so much for being here. You're going to be sticking with me between you and Christina, my wife, co-hosting. Man, I'm so happy that you agreed to co-host with me. You and I have been talking about doing something like this for a long time. So here it is.
For sure. And I'm happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So, well, stay tuned to next time. And we've got some great guests coming up for the next year. And I'm not going to give it all away, but just we will be advertising this next year on our guests, and hopefully you will join us. And don't forget to download and listen to us whenever you can. So, Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully, this next year will bring you love, prosperity, and good health. And so, thanks again from all of us here at Paranormal Crossings Into the Unknown. I'm Aaron Collins. Thank you again. Have a good night.